Next news. Breaking news from the White House.
A masked couple climbed 1,454 feet up the Empire State Building, unfurled a syrupy banner that read, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world will know peace." Then turned the spire into a marriage proposal set. It happened in Manhattan on one of America's most iconic buildings, while police and rescue crews had to scramble because two black-clad narcissists wanted Netflix-grade attention and ring selfies above the city. This was not romance. It was a branded trespass wrapped in fake morality. And when you hear who those two are, the whole stunt gets even uglier. And the stakes here is order, basic order. Working people obey the law, pay their taxes, and trust that a landmark like the Empire State Building will not get hijacked by masked exhibitionists chasing clicks. Then Nikolau and Ivan Beerkus, the pair tied to the 2024 Netflix documentary Skywalkers, A Love Story, turned that building into a prop, force NYPD and emergency crews into motion, and dump the risk on first responders for what? A gooey slogan, a proposal, selfies on top of the spire. The same activist performance disease keeps spreading because the media keeps dressing up juvenile lawlessness as lifestyle content. One source captured the exact obscenity. She was taking selfies of the ring while cops dealt with the fallout below. That's the culture rot. Vanity at the top, responsibility at the bottom. In a sane city, security never gets humiliated like this. In a sane media culture, nobody calls this daring or romantic. They call it what it is. Reckless trespassing that invites the next idiot to go even higher and fall even harder. When mass climbers can turn the Empire State Building into a prop, you learn fast how confusion protects the wrong people. Medicare works the same way. The Medicare confusion industrial complex buries seniors in noise so they get stuck. Chapter cuts through it. It's simple by design. One call, one advisor, under 20 minutes. They look at your doctors, look at your prescriptions, your whole situation, and tell you the truth with no propaganda, just facts. Clarity matters when systems profit by keeping people overwhelmed. They work for you, not big insurance. If you're already on the right plan, they'll say so. If not, they'll help you switch. It's free. And last year, people who found new plans with Chapter saved an average of $1,100. So call Chapter now at the number on your screen, 910-728-4109. Clarity beats chaos, and America needs a lot more of it. Now here's the detail that blows up the fairy tale spin. This was not some spontaneous burst of young love above Manhattan. The pair were identified as Nikolau and Ivan Beerkus, the same names tied to Netflix Skywalkers, A Love Story. So the World Peace banner, the mask, the black outfits, the proposal, the selfies, the camera-ready staging at 1,400 feet, that all starts looking less like romance and more like a pre-packaged brand activation with cops forced into the supporting cast. And you're about to see it all. The chaos unfolded today in New York. Two people climbing the top of the Empire State Building, unfurling a flag on top.
Yes, that is the top of the Empire State Building. I am not from New York, but maybe my producers can kind of let me know. Whoever is familiar with the Empire State Building, you can educate me while I'm on the air. What is access to the top of this building? Are you, if you come to visit the Empire State Building, how far are you allowed to go? Do you buy tickets? I went there once as a child. I don't remember, but I'm curious how these two got up there. So it is an observation deck. Okay, so they are at the observation deck, but this is not an area where you're allowed to go up to where the antenna is. But they clearly got to the observation deck. They've moved their way up to the top of the antenna. I'm being told it's a man and a woman protesting at the top of the Empire State Building. The banner reads, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace." 204 feet tall, that antenna. So We don't know much about these two individuals, except that this is a pretty risky move, folks. And clearly, we've got a live shot. We don't know what exactly they're protesting, what has driven them to get to the top of Empire State Building. But we do have our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, on the line. Aaron, I don't know if you're finding out anything about this man and this woman. Is this, a serious protest? Is this a stunt? Is this something? So many questions here. But bottom line, it's dangerous, and we are monitoring it live.
It is incredibly dangerous. It is likely a criminal trespassing situation. The NYPD is looking at the same images that we are, Kira, showing two people unfurling a banner at the top of the Empire State Building at a time when the NYPD has just started working 12-hour shifts and trying to blanket the city in security in anticipation of all the events tied to the 4th of July and America's 250th birthday. This is not something that the NYPD wants to see. I'm not sure how they're going to get them down. They are certainly going to be arrested once they are down and taken into custody. But the message of love, or whatever the banner says, is clearly meant to draw cameras. These two people have certainly drawn plenty of attention with a stunt like this. You can see there on the observation deck of the Empire State Building that tourists are there as usual, whether they're aware even that somebody may be on top of the spire of the Empire State Building. It would be difficult to see from that vantage point, but tourists are up there all the time. This is clearly a breach in security and something the NYPD is now aware of. I've been texting with sources, Kira, and they're watching the same pictures we are.
I am terrified of heights. I see videos like this, and my skin starts to crawl. Even like just watching a video of somebody on a spire or looking over an edge. No frickin' way. So thinking about how these two people are on top of that spire, and it appears they have no safety harnesses. I'm freaking out just watching that. So that was the first scramble as cameras caught the two masked climbers. Now here's a tighter look of the breach. Police and emergency crews rushing in below. Oh my goodness, look at this shot, please. Good God. That is just the most terrifying visual. Oh my goodness. One hand he's holding him. Oh. One false move, and they're dead. Absolutely stupid. I can't even. So the banner was up. Stunt gets its headlines. The whole thing already looking reckless. Now it gets even more absurd. One of the masked climbers turns a trespass into a marriage proposal.
Specifically has an anti-climbing ordinance, by the way. You can't climb a building over 50 feet high. That is a misdemeanor, punishable by up to 1 year in jail, plus a fine. Disorderly for God's sake.
Now.
Great. Well, they can consummate the marriage in jail.
Yeah.
Apparently,
just
they don't do it here. Waste of time.
You can visibly see her taking selfies of the ring. I was just told. So
it's happening.
So get married and go to jail.
And dress in black for the occasion.
With masks on. Who wouldn't want a proposal in a mask?
Yeah, by the way, why are they wearing masks?
This better not inspire anyone else.
Maybe that is Taylor and Kelsey. We don't know this.
Oh, stop it.
And by the way, at a time also when you have the uniformed police department cutting back their uniformed officers, you guys just went through the litany of things going on.
Oh, my Lord. So you saw the proposal. The real story is ego and the danger dumped on first responder. Next, local coverage calling it an engagement for world peace, while the pair pose on top of the spire. Fox 26 Houston. So the World Peace Theater is one thing. Down on the street, the city is forced to treat it like a real emergency. NYPD and rescue units stacking outside the building. So while gawkers gathered below, the cops moved in. The internet zeroed in on the money shot. Next, another raw clip of the pair kissing and hanging that cringe banner. Kissing daredevils scale the Empire State Building.
Alright, so real quick, there's a guy on top of the Empire State Building. And he's deciding to use his free will to do this. This is...
So it wasn't some romantic impulse caught by chance. Next comes the identity reveal. The couple appears to be tied to a Netflix documentary. Nikolau and Ivan Beerkus, the couple released a Netflix documentary called 2024 Skywalkers, A Love Story. They supposedly found love thousands of feet in the sky, illegally scaling the world's tallest buildings. So,
proposal is happening now.
Great. Well, they can consummate the marriage in jail.
Yeah. Oh,
apparently,
as long as they don't do it here.
Waste of time.
You can visibly see her taking selfies of the ring. I was just told. So,
it's happening.
So get married and go to jail.
And dressed in black for the occasion.
With masks on. Who wouldn't want a proposal in a mask?
Yeah, by the way, why are they wearing masks?
This better not inspire.
So now the stunt has names and a backstory. Looks a lot more like a calculated self-promotion than spontaneous love. Next, the ending they earned, both climbers taken into NYPD custody and hauled away. The couple who climbed the top of the Empire State Building were just loaded into NYPD paddy wagon, hidden from gawkers by a shuttered loading dock gate, and then driven away down 33rd Street. A police spokesman says the two were taken into custody. There it is. That's the end of their love story. So the load-bearing fact in this whole circus is not the banner, it's the proposal. Angela, Nikolau, and Ivan Beerkus climbed onto the spire of the Empire State Building in masks, dangled their fake deep line about love and power, then sealed the stunt with a ring and selfies while first responders stood below cleaning up their vanity project. That detail strips away every excuse. They didn't break into expose corruption. They did not save anybody. They sold themselves. They turned a 1,400-foot security breach into content, and then NYPD hauled both of them into custody through a shuttered loading dock gate and down 33rd Street in a paddy wagon. Good. The handcuffs fit the story better than the engagement ring ever did. So here is the line that every mayor, police commissioner, and media outlet ought to hear. Stop glamorizing this garbage. Charge them. Enforce every trespass and anti-climbing law in the books. Bill them for the disruption if the city can. And stop feeding the next attention addict the fantasy that a mask, a slogan, and a camera can turn criminal stupidity into romance. The Empire State Building is not a Netflix backdrop for narcissists. It's an American landmark. First responders are not extras in somebody else's vanity reel. They're the people who pay the price when unserious fame chasers blow up a city block with a stunt. If you're sick of watching lawlessness get marketed as art, send this segment to somebody who still thinks this was cute. Let them defend the mask, the spire, the banner, and the paddy wagon. We will defend the order. And we'll also defend your right to get the news. And that's why we set up this telephone number just for you. And thousands of patriots are already getting the news. They're on the inside track. Don't miss out. Text raw feed to 844-840-4963. I want to make sure you're getting the news that you depend on. When YouTube doesn't send you notifications, I will send them to you personally, one text message a night. And make sure you're celebrating the wins with the Next News Network by going to the merch shelf below this video or shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.